It's Houston, it's Florida. Serving as evidence of why in November you truly don't know where the twists and turns of the season are going to go. What do you expect tonight?
You know, I'd love to say I have a great feel for this one. I don't think anybody has a great feel for this one. It's a complete toss-up. What is it, a 1.5-point spread right now? That's evidence that it's a toss-up at this point. Houston's win was dramatic, unpredictable, everything. Everything you can say about that win against Duke, you know, I think people are worried, like, how are they going to get back up? Come on, that's stupid. Like, those dudes are robots. They are tough as hell. Can Florida match their toughness? And specifically, I'm not worried about Florida's guards, Walter Clayton Jr. and Elijah Martin and Will Richard. Those guys are going to match it. It's Florida's bigs. You better come on. Alex Condon, I want to see you tonight fighting early.
Look, I think that these teams match up strength on strength about as well as we've seen a matchup strength on strength in the past, right? Walter Clayton, LJ Cryer.
Yep.
You got Elijah Martin, you got Milos Uzin. You got Will Richard, you got Emmanuel Sharp. You got 17 different bigs on Houston that can get physical, that can crash the offensive glass, that can guard. You got 17 different bigs on Florida that can get physical, crash the glass, and guard. Both teams want to get to the offensive glass. They want to try to win games by getting extra possessions. You have two teams with guards that love to shoot up threes, right? You have Houston, who is going to try to force as many turnovers as they possibly can. You have Florida, who has proven that they've been anti-turnovers, right? I can't wait for this matchup. The thing I love about it the most is normally when we get to this stage, the Final Four, the hype, it doesn't live up to what the expectation is that we put on it, right? It's been a couple years. It's been since 2022 since we've really seen a Final Four that delivered the way we want the Final Four to deliver.
Because we had, San Diego State and FAU, they were cute stories, but once they got there, especially, listen, UConn has dominated. They have dominated the last two runs through the NCAA tournament. So finally we have it where we don't know what's going to happen. We wanted to try to say a year ago, Purdue, maybe Zach Edey, maybe, the Boilermakers can do it. But, after 10 minutes, that thing was over.
And this year we thought we knew. We thought we knew. I thought I knew.
Yes, maybe 3/4 of the way through the year, you were trying to say that, like, Auburn was this team that was historic, and the numbers did show that.
No. I've been on the Duke bandwagon since
about
mid-February. Early.
3/4 in, you were trying to tell me.
Not 3/4 in,
like,
earlier
these
than that.
numbers are historic.
They
Auburn
were.
has a chance to be the best team in NCAA history.
And they had a chance to do
I was
that.
slow your roll a little bit here. And I'm not saying I predicted Florida Houston. I'm just saying I never thought Auburn or Duke were that much better than everybody else.
Here's the thing about it. Duke was.
Really?
The issue with Duke.
Did you watch the ACC?
The issue with Duke was
hard to know
not.
if they were.
Hard to know, that's right.
They were up by 14 with 8 minutes left and gave a game away.
They did give a game away.
Their issue was not whether or not Duke was good enough. The issue was whether or not Duke could handle the pressure of a big moment. And we saw them over and over again not be able to handle it. But that's neither here or there.
I'll tell you what, we're at Alibi Sports and Spirits. This has been a terrific location for us these last couple of days. Want to shout out Miranda Barbecue as well. They're to our right. They're making some wonderful tacos and a variety of things. The brisket looks fantastic on the black stone. But Alibi Sports
don't get it on your white shirt.
I'm not having any.
Fana, their burn ends just changed my life.
Yeah,
just changed my life.
Unbelievable. So to your point, there are two contrasts though, right? One contrast is tempo. Houston is 360th in tempo. Florida's 59. So when Houston, that's why Houston's so difficult to play. They put you in quicksand, and they can get your car stuck in neutral with the way that they defend, with the way that they slow you down. And, oh, by the way, they've hit tough shots too. The other sharp contrast is what I want you to talk about, and that is a 39-year-old Todd Golden and a 69-year-old Kelvin Sampson. Yeah. And tonight they meet, and one of these men is going to win their first national championship. What do you think of these two head coaches heading into tonight?
Well, obviously with Kelvin at 69 years old, this is probably it for him, right? This is probably his final opportunity to play for a national title. Could it happen again? I think he's got probably a year or two left before he calls it a career. He knows that. He's been reflective throughout this whole Final Four run here. And then you got Todd Golden, 39 years old. If he wins this thing, it catapults him. People look at Todd Golden as a rising star because, let's face it, he's doing it at football school.
Would he still be rising if he won a title?
I mean, no. I mean, obviously, yeah, he'd be a star at that point. But what he's done with a limited bankroll, because they don't have money like maybe Alabama did this year. Certainly like Arkansas, like Texas Tech, like some of these other, Kansas State. You know, they've got decent NIL, but what they've done to put this roster together, and they've done it with a it's really interesting because they've done it with a combination of nerds and basketball guys, and it's worked.
They've done as good of a job as anybody in the sport at identifying the talent that will work with the way that they want to play, and at finding them at bargain prices, right? You know, they said the other day, there was the quote that we have never gotten a player by winning a bidding war, right? That's just not who they are. That's not how they're going to do it. They are going to find the guys where maybe they can get an edge because they can find something in terms of the way that they're shooting or some of their efficiency numbers. You know, they love KenPom. I don't think anybody loves KenPom more than the Florida staff loves KenPom.
And speaking of KenPom, Houston is number 1 in KenPom defense. Florida is number 2 in KenPom offense. The Gators are number 9 on the defensive end of the floor, with Houston being number 9 offensively. And, Jeff, that ultimately is why Houston is here, right? We've always known them to wear teams down defensively with the level at which they guard. But the biggest thing against them was, well, they don't have enough shooting. But I'll tell you what, Jeff, when they got L.J. Cryer from Baylor, it really changed the complexion of things. Not to mention Milo Shuzan from Oklahoma has been a stud for this team.
Yeah, so Cryer, when he transferred from Baylor to Houston, it was, I think at that point, it was to try to play some more point guard. And then he got there, and it was basically like, hey, you're not a point guard. You're not. You're an undersized 2. That's what you do best. And I think he probably needed to hear it from somebody else. Scott Drew was probably too polite, too nice, where my guess is Kelvin Sampson hit him right over the head with it. Like, no, you're not a point guard. And with Milo Shuzan this year, I remember seeing them. They played in Vegas at that Players Era. They went 1-2 there. I was there for it. And
what was their record again?
1-2. 1-2.
Now they're 35-4.
Right. I've seen half of their losses in person. How about that?
No wonder Kelvin
over
didn't like you.
Over like a 5-day span. But what I even didn't realize at that point, and Kelvin told me this the other night after their win, was Milos had broken his nose and had missed like 3 weeks of practices leading up to that. Now, he didn't understand the way Kelvin wanted him to play at that point, and he was going east-west. He just didn't have a good feel for it. Now you can see it, the confidence, the comfortability. He's obviously going north-south. He'll be a key tonight because he wasn't great the other night, but they won with a mediocre performance from Milo Shuzan.
Honestly,